All right, everybody, welcome to episode 187 of Dissonant Waves, our last regular episode of the year. We are
Holy
here.
shit.
It's the end of 2024 as far as listening to albums and critiquing them goes. Feeling a little burnt out. How's everyone else doing? Ritz, Trix?
Oh,
I
it's
have
been
a
a
ball in my
long
hands.
year, and this isn't even our final episode of the year. We'll be doing a wrap up next week, but we kind of have to not do it on the same one because
A lot of work,
We-
it turns
Yeah.
out.
Lot of
Yeah.
listening.
yeah, I think previous years we've done it. I don't know if we did it last year. I know like the first year we kind of did it all at once, and now we're either like handling it better or we're lazy. I don't know.
Last year we did Live with Bush Hall at my insistence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's
This year...
Yeah, no one gets to insist an album. That's just sorry, you've had your chance.
Yeah, this year's a little bit different. This year we did a lot. This last episode's a lot.
Hmm.
Ritz, you went the easy route. Hi, Manny. Yes.
Hi, Manny.
You chose Mannequin Pussy's I Got Heaven, King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard's Flight B741, and Blonde Girls and Exit Exists. I chose 4 different projects named Ephemera, one by Ben Quad, one by Postcard Nowhere, one by Angelus, and one by the Samphires. And Trix, you went and chose all of the opening acts that you and I have seen together.
Yes.
There's Awe, who opened for Helm is Where.
Oh.
No, it's Awe.
It's O. They said it was pronounced O like it's French.
I'm gonna fucking look at the Spotify because I'm pretty sure it says it on the Spotify or the Bandcamp page.
No, I literally remember them saying at the show it's pronounced O because it was French.
It says pronounced or.
Yeah, it does say it, motherfucker.
On the Spotify.
Yeah, who
Well, I
knows?
thought it was
We'll have
pronounced
to ask
Oxford.
them when I interview when we interview the band because I'm sliding into their DMs as we speak.
Yeah, ask them. Are they still around?
Man,
What's
they're
going
dating.
on?
They're still
Dating
around.
scene's getting crazy for Trix.
Come to Chicago. Anyway,
Well,
Come to Brazil.
Well, one thing I'd like to mention before we go into the rest of my picks is that I was really hoping that they were teasing an album at the show we were at, and they never fucking released it.
no, they didn't. But what is interesting is that I put their discography in my cart a few days ago, and when I tried to check out today, the price got raised by $1.
Oh man.
I'm curious if they're still keeping up with their page. Maybe.
Well, their Twitter is still their Twitter was still active. They have a Blue Sky now that's active.
Ah, so they went to Blue Sky.
Yes.
They're still
Yeah,
aware
like a
enough.
lot of people have. Yeah,
We have a Blue Sky. We should probably post on that. But yes,
we should do a lot of things.
We should.
we should get on Spotify.
But first off, I guess we should pick a fucking album to start with because
We
Well,
should finish
I haven't said
talking about my
everything yet.
pick.
I haven't said everything yet.
That's fucking right. That's how long it is.
Anyway, yes, we did. You did Awe. That was your first pick. Their honeymoon, their whole discography basically. And then you and
Yeah.
I saw Petite League in Nashville. The baseball game was the first act that opened that one. I forgot that completely. I'll be honest. Their baseball game EP, Making You Up, and the Reworks EP that followed Making You Up. And then the one I did remember, though I didn't remember his name, Mark Fredson, and his album Nothing But Night.
Which was the one he was teasing when we saw him.
Yes. And then he said, no, I need to pick a 2024 as well. So then you saw that Team Mekano put out a new album, and so we listened to Mekano World Order.
That we did.
So it's pretty obvious what we're going to start with. We're going to start with the stuff that isn't 2024.
Well, we also got to start with the stuff that's the opening acts, because it's the opening act.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true. So
Start with Awe.
yeah.
I think this was at the time the highest I'd ever gotten at a show. And still is.
Oh God, that was such a show to be like high at, and then to come down.
Honestly, it was a lot of fun. And like I was coming down in the fucking Chicago Greyhound bus station.
As somebody who goes completely straight edge to gigs, I can't relate to this at all.
I was not
And
high.
all I can say is to Trix, you're a coward for getting stoned for the opener. You gotta get sober, and then after you've been overwhelmed, that's when you can relax using drugs.
Who said I wasn't high for the entire show?
No, I figured you were high for the whole show. It's once the whole fucking show, whatever.
I also remember at that show I was wearing my green army jacket that I've been
Yep.
spotted in many times, and I remember Dominic, you bought me an Angry Orchard,
Yes.
and I just remember having it in my fucking pocket and dancing.
And it was open as well, I believe.
It was the pocket beer.
Yes. I remember that show being long and being tired and wanting desperately to sit down, but there were no seats.
There were no seats.
So you slept on Trix's shoulder.
No, I did not sleep. Because that was the time that Glass Beach pretty much played their album straight through.
Yes.
And it was like a big deal. But like, God, I was so tired.
They even played shit that wasn't on the album, like Rat Spaghetti or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah. But Awe opened. And I remember the name because it was interesting. And I remember that they were good. Did not remember what the music sounded like. And here we are. And we listened to it. Their entire discography. Their Honeymoon EP. And the few singles they put out aside from that.
This is really good shit.
Yeah. I was very surprised.
Look, it might be the fact that this has been an overwhelming week in terms of music to go through, and which I'm probably going to be unfairly treating a lot of the non-2024 stuff, because that's just where my head's at the moment. I'm not really so keen on this, but I also didn't have anything to hate about it. You know, it was cute little bedroom poppy kind of stuff like that. I didn't really guess from listening to it, completely forgetting why you chose everything, that they were openers to the Homer's Wear Glass Beach show.
Yeah.
It's an interesting pick for them to pick this.
Mm.
But like, this is like an interesting mix of like indie, but like kind of R&B and kind of proggy, kind of like hip hoppy also.
Yeah.
Like, it has a range, but it also is like very unique for like as small as a discography is.
Yeah, they were definitely trying a lot of things with the different songs that they had in here. Like I couldn't in my right mind call this a blender.
No.
Because that would just be wrong. And I actually listened to this from latest to oldest. Yeah. And like the acoustic one was probably the biggest outlier out of all of it.
Yes.
Yeah. The acoustic ones where they leave us, basically. So it's kind of like, are they going to do more of that? Is that just like a one-off?
Yeah, it's like, is there even an original passion?
Maybe it's one of those things where it was original and then it got removed and it's buried somewhere.
Maybe.
Like the Naki Soul stuff that we uncovered.
Well, I remember after the show, I kept checking in every couple months to see if anything was posted on their Bandcamp and like the streaming pages, and I didn't see anything.
We went. Was it 2021 that we went?
It was 2021 when we went.
So, yeah, Passion would have been somewhat new. So, I mean, at the time, yeah, this looked like a band that was going to be releasing stuff, and you know, hopefully the Homeless Wear connection would have gotten them some notice.
Yeah, or the Glass Beach even.
Yeah, but they just have not done anything really since that I can really tell.
Well, they're still doing shows.
Okay.
I remember I was DMing you this like the week I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull these guys out eventually. When I got the idea for this, and yeah, they I think the last show they played was in November in Chicago.
Okay.
19th of November, yeah.
Like late November. I would say the 26th.
Here.
19th.
Okay. No, I thought I found Original Passion, but Passion was from a compilation, Warm Violet, a compilation for Chicago Community Jail Support. So it was like a submission of theirs.
The one thing I find surprising about this show is just keep in mind that I've gone to at this point 148 shows this year, and only one of them did they even ask you to do this, and it wasn't even a requirement, but most of the crowd still did because it was asked pretty nicely by Jehu. On here, it was a mask required show.
Yeah,
we were still doing masks at that point, I think, weren't we?
In 2021 it would have been. But
in 2021 we were definitely doing masks, but their last show was mask required in 2024.
Ah, gotcha. I mean, yeah, there are definitely some bands that are still making that a thing. and that's
Yeah.
totally,
Yeah, I
Valid.
mean,
but totally valid.
didn't the drummer or something for Glass Beach decide to stop touring because of COVID, and they just I
I
don't know
think
the
so.
I don't know the full extent of them as a person or anything like that, but it was the whole I don't see. But it always just read to me as a kind of like I can't see how people tour in COVID, so I'm not going to.
They seem to
Mhm.
imply, at least from what I remember, that there were some immuno issues that they had that maybe played a part in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know the person.
But it
I
definitely
think
did.
we all have long COVID at this point too.
But it definitely did read as kind of a like, I cannot support this morally, so I don't want to tour.
Mm-hmm.
When that's that's totally fine.
Yeah, do what you want.
But I think doing masks required is still a viable option if you want to do it.
Oh yeah.
I said this with no criticism or positivity towards it. It's just
No.
it's crazy that it's kind of like there's still something's doing it. I guess because it just feels like it's not the norm anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Obviously some people still wear masks when they go out and stuff like that. Why not?
You go to the store and you see people wearing masks that
Yeah, my
work there.
coworker was wearing a mask the other day, and I'm like, I didn't say anything, but I figured, oh, she's got something going on, like she might be sick or
Yeah, no.
didn't
If I'm
think
sick,
anything
I'm
of it.
usually if I'm sick when I go out to get groceries or like that. If I have a little bit, I'll usually try and get a mask.
Yeah, we also
I'm
work
sick.
in food service, so whenever I'm sick, I always try and wear something too.
Even though the proper way should be if you work in food service and you're sick to stay home, but that's just not how society is.
We're too short-staffed, baby.
Hell yeah. Anyway, back to Ode or we Orc Squad, whatever we want to call them.
I mean,
Let's just OUX.
yeah, Ox. No, but I think this EP has like the feeling of like this is a band that's trying stuff, and sometimes it feels a little not sloppy, but kind of sometimes it slides together in a really incongruous way. It just feels like it's a little coming into conflict with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not smooth yet.
No, this is definitely the wait for the album that we were told was going to happen. Anyways, never happened.
And but the thing is, it's not smooth, but it's still quite interesting for what's here. So
yeah.
Like if this was like a submission to like, I was thinking about this as I was listening. Like, if I was a record executive or something listening to like this submission of this, I'd be like, hey, I like what this is. Let me work with you on this a little bit, but I think we got something.
Yeah. Imagine if we started our own fucking record imprint.
Imagine if we started a band.
We've basically started a band, Ritz. I hope you realize that. You've released projects under the name Dissonant Waves, that it's like remixed versions of the episodes.
Remember when we were talking about making that barn into a concert venue?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, that would have rocked.
I gave you all that shit.
Yeah, I still have it. I need to get my father to bring over my saxophone because it's sitting in his basement right now because I really should learn how to play it when my neighbors start fighting.
Yeah, we just need to find a way to make the Dissonant Waves show happen.
Yeah.
Gotta get all our
do it
favorite bands
do it
together.
in community theater in Chicago.
Gotta get all of our favorite bands together, get enough of a international contingent that it makes sense for them to tour out here.
Yeah.
Trix is Bond. Trix is Bond.
I no longer have a barn, sadly.
Trix is X Bond. Trix is X Bond.
We could probably do it in the shed on my apartment backyard. I'm looking at.
If I still live in the apartment I live in, we can clear out the basement and just make it a real barnstormer basement show.
Oh fuck yeah. Dominic, here's something like I've actually been working on with some friends in real life. We've been watching the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings movie.
Okay.
Getting super high as shit and recording a doom metal soundtrack to it.
It reminds me of the album I was going to pick at some point this fall that I never got to pick. That is a metal album inspired by Lord of the Rings.
Hell yeah. There's like 1,000 of those.
It'll have to come next year, I guess. But to come back to Olaf for a little bit, I think Queer Like Me and Saint Nothing are kind of the highlights for sure. The Beekeeper stuff is really interesting. Beekeeper Part 2, maybe a little bit less so.
Yeah.
But like Queer Like Me definitely sounds like the hooky single. There was one. And Saint Nothing
Definitely.
is kind of the like interpretation of like Saint James Infirmary, but done in a really interesting style. It's really interesting to me because it's there's an indie kind of thread for it. The vocals are really passionate and soulful, so it kind of has that R&B feel to it. But then like some of the beats switch up, it becomes a little bit more hip hop kind of sounding, and at least as far as like the instrumentals go, it just
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like anything, despite having a lot of things it kind of sounds like.
Yeah.
I really like that you picked this because it's the one this week where I can definitely be like, I haven't heard anything quite like this before.
This was well overdue on the podcast, I feel.
Probably,
It's
you know, you're not.
It's,
You're
it's
not
a
wrong.
shame if I if I wasn't on like a weird thing one night where it's like, oh, what were the fucking bands that opened for us again, and like looked through them, and like we might not have had this on the podcast at all.
I mean, do you remember what they played on that show?
I do not. I was extremely high.
Like they must have played Queer Like Me, I imagine.
They must have. I feel like I might remember both parts of the Beekeeper as well.
I feel like I remember at least part 1 being played. But,
Yeah, definitely at least part 1.
but it's kind of a reach.
Yeah.
But it is quite an interesting show that like they were there, Home is Where, Glass Beach, Tyler Odom. It was a wild show. It was definitely a unique experience. Go ahead.
That would be the show that I'd tell my grandkids about if I had grandkids.
It'll never be my favorite show, but it certainly was a
No.
unique and memorable experience.
Yes. I think some of the bands we're going to talk about next are from my favorite show.
But the stuff outside of the EP was interesting. I think the early stuff outshines the later stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I Sleep Skeptical has some interesting stuff. It's kind of it's like, you know, it's their vibe, but a little bit earlier, so it's got a little bit of the just kind of that like, oh, this is kind of how you weave from this to this. Okay, this one's a little bit less like the EP, but then okay, yeah, I got it. It's nice that feeling is kind of there because it shows like, no, they thought about this.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to really say about this. I like I said, you know, I found it to be kind of cute and cool, but I didn't take away too much from this. So
I like the cover art.
Yes.
I think that would look great on a 45.
It would.
I can see that in like a plastic cover sitting in a record shop.
I feel like the early 2020s emo in this scene had really, really good album covers in this era.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of great cover art for a while. Even now, there's still but
there's good ones, but I feel like there's a distinct style change.
Yeah, yeah. I think Beekeeper Part 1, Queer Like Me, Saint Nothing on the highlights. My least favorite's Mood.
Honestly, I really don't have a least favorite, but favorites for me are the Beekeeper Part 1 and Queer Like Me.
Fair enough.
I don't really have a least favorite, but I think the Beekeeper saga was the best of us.
All right, now let's switch over to the other show that we saw together, Petite League in Nashville, where we first saw Baseball Game. This was the huge poll because, like I said, I forgot they were there.
Yeah, and I mean, if saying that we saw a show with Petite League that was opened by a band called Baseball Game, you could see how you'd throw it out pretty easily because that's just kind of ridiculous.
It's like putting a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
Also, because Raccoon Love was there, I think that got more of my attention. Yeah, we have the big group photo with Petite League, us, and Raccoon Love.
Yeah, that is a wild photo.
Did Raccoon Love even put out anything this year?
I don't think so.
Sorry about this, Ritz, because you live in Australia, but Dominic and I have created like some weirdly iconic moments in our memories, and you're just kind of there.
Raccoon Love put out an EP in September.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
We missed it.
Maybe we have to cover it next week.
Cowards.
I mean, maybe we could cover it next week.
Yeah, just as a little bonus. Because it's just one EP.
And it's...
Okay, but if it turns into 2 EPs, we're cancelling it all, okay?
Heard.
It's just the one EP. It's 12 minutes long.
Yep.
Okay, now we go into the baseball card.
Baseball game.
Baseball game, which Ritz, you were
Rookie-
playing before
rookie
Trix
game.
got on.
Yeah, and you know what? Since I've got nothing to say about baseball game, I'll continue playing it whilst you two talk about it.
Okay.
Baseball game during baseball game talk. Let's fucking go.
Baseball game was fine.
Yeah.
You gotta talk. You gotta talk more than that. I sort of loaded up the game.
I think the later EP, that's not the remix EP. The remix EP is really, really interesting.
Yes,
But I think the newer EP is where the better EP of the two.
I don't know. Like clearly they got some popularity because Woman has over 1 million plays on Spotify. You know,
Woman, you know you're woman. You gotta
That's
be
not
a
even
woman.
that's not the case on YouTube Music. That's cool.
yeah, it's like there is some attention paid to Making You Up. Some of the songs have over like 100,000. Some of them are like over 500,000. So, but I don't. They're really solid, I guess. But I think the Reworks EP was where I was most interested because I think the Making You Up one is a little too long.
Yeah.
So like the Making You Up one kind of cuts it all down to like 2-3 minutes. And not that like Making You Up is like super far beyond that, but the structure of the songs, they just get condensed in a way where it's like, well, I can see why they reworked it.
Yeah.
And it's really just a remix EP with other artists I've never heard of doing the remixes, which is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is always
I
really
appreciated the remix EP the most out of all of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was probably the most interesting about all the sounds in there, even if it wasn't enough for me to take away. I thought like hearing these done in different ways at least gave some purpose to the song structure. But it was a pretty forgettable experience otherwise to me.
I think it's an exercise in how production can make a difference. Like a song like Fall in Line is fine. I like it. It was good. But I think the remix one made it more interesting.
Yes.
So like just kind of hearing how someone else kind of attacking the same song and putting their spin on it makes it work well beyond the scope of the other one. It's just like, this is why there are remixes out there. This is why they release remix work.
Yeah. This is a better remix album than any of the Tom York remix albums we listened to.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that. I didn't want to like, you know, drive off a cliff or anything. But
here's a review. You won't drive off a cliff. That's at least a 7.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'd like to mention, I think, because I actually really quite like Baseball Game. A lot of these songs will be making it into like my playlist rotation.
Okay.
But I think you summed it up best actually when we went and saw them. You called them a Trix band.
I love how you remember all of this, and I do not.
I have.
Reed gives Trix eidetic memory.
You have maybe, I don't know. I remembered this sober actually. But I think it's just that I can never remember anything important, but any useless shit I will fucking remember the shit out of.
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
Like I took 2 years of two years of engineering school, and I remember jack shit of that. So.
But you remember me saying that Baseball Game was a Trix band, and you know what?
Exactly.
They kind of are.
I think I've made this comment just to go brag to Trix, but I remember exactly how far I am up to in the Chronicles of Narnia Prince Caspian movie. 1 hour 52 minutes 21 seconds. You know when the last time I saw that movie was?
10 years ago.
Yeah, 2009. So don't spoil it. I'm almost finished.
I just remember right now because we went to eat at that restaurant before the show.
Yeah, the vegan barbecue place.
Because like it was like the front of the building, wasn't it?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, the club, the venue was on the side, and this was like in the front.
Yeah,
I think I remember just getting tater tots.
I had something there. It was. I remember being fine.
I think you got a vegan breakfast wrap.
That sounds right. That sounds like something I would have. But yeah, that was interesting. And then we went and saw the show, and we recorded our intro, and Petite League was there, and
yeah,
like it was a good experience. Baseball game does not really factor into it at all, if I'm being honest.
I remember here's where it factors more into Petite League. Lorenzo broke a string on stage, and he borrowed one of the guitars from baseball game.
Sure, that sounds like something that would. Yeah, I mean, I remember the guitar broke. I couldn't remember how he got another one.
Yeah, it was that weird like red and black one that I'm still trying to figure out what the hell it was. If the baseball game dudes see this and know what I'm talking about, please hit me up on Twitter and let me know this.
Also, I'm sorry we're not having a lot to say. I mean,
I dig your shit.
So here's the interesting metrics part. If we're going off of Spotify, right?
Yeah.
All on Spotify, 214 monthly listeners. You know, they have an audience.
Yeah.
Baseball game, almost 41,500.
Wow.
Good on them.
So like,
good for them.
There is someone paying attention to baseball game.
Yeah. Which isn't the case when I usually go to a baseball game. That's the last thing I'm doing is paying attention to the fucking game, I'll be honest. I love baseball, but I love it for like just the fucking vibes. Let me go and read a book.
I mean, honestly, that sounds fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe have some music going on in one ear.
Now the weird thing is
baseball's for nerds. Let me read a book.
The weird thing is that baseball game Spotify bio just says Americana DJ set, Los Angeles, California.
That's
Contact. There's a person's name.
They're from Nashville.
Yeah, unless they were so compelled by the success of Making You Up, they decided to move.
I think it still says Nashville on their Bandcamp page, but their Bandcamp page hasn't been updated in a long time.
Yeah, their Bandcamp page only has the first EP on it.
Yeah.
Which usually implies there's like a label involved.
Yeah, that does do that.
Do what it do, Yugi.
They don't think it be like it is, but it do.
Sonderhaus and Telefono Records put out the reworks.
Gotcha.
Telefono put out Making You Up. And I've never heard of Telefono. Yeah, I don't know any of us have. So, not a big name, I would imagine. Okay, I'm Googling.
Speaking of baseball games, I just hit a triple with my pitcher, so let's fucking go.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah. Telefono.
While Dominic looks that up, I've just got a gut feeling that 1 to 2 years one of their songs will blow up on TikTok.
I mean, it kind of seems like they got some attention, and maybe it sounds possible. So the other artists on Telefono include Fly Golden Eagle, Milk Jennings, Oberhofer, Passion Fruit Boys, Ross Nickel, and Toledo.
Passion Fruit Boys sounds like one of those made-up band names.
I'm gonna turn the light on in here because it's gone very dark. It's near 8 o'clock at my time.
I am pacing around on my back patio at 4 a.m.
Alright, so for a spoiler, I'm basically useless for all the non-2024 stuff. So the next album that we cover, I mean, useless as well. We have one more 2021
album we got to cover too.
I'm done with baseball game.
I am done with baseball game too. Yeah, I'll have them on in the background like a real baseball game.
It was nice, but it was a blender. I couldn't really pick up anything from it, and I gave it a go. It was just more indie to me. It wasn't. Well, it wasn't speaking anything to me, but I agree. I think you're right. I think you're right there, Trix. I think it's still great listening. It's nothing wrong. It's some good, easy listening.
I will shout out Crocodile Tears. I like that song.
I like the Crocodile song by Hanoi Traffic more.
Yeah.
I like that EP is fucking eaten incredible. By a seasick crocodile.
Was that?
I like the part in the Grinch where he talks about getting eaten by a seasick alligator or something.
It's kind of a blunder for me too. I will shout out the Reworks EP is the most interesting. I think Fall in Line probably be my favorite song. I don't really have a least favorite. I don't really have that strong of opinion in that way.
All right. On to Mark Fredson.
Yes. This is the person I do remember from that show because it just seemed like a weird selection.
Yeah.
This guy, as we kind of did a little snooping, as I did a little research, he was in a band before. Was it the Local H?
I think so.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Wound up in Nashville, has been in Nashville for years now doing his own solo thing, and he's put out some albums. His style is kind of like, it's like he's from the 70s, basically. He's doing like just like solo adult contemporary is I think a good term for it.
Yeah, that's a good term for it. Maybe like if you dialed back Donny Benet about 50%.
He's the guy that Donny Benet is parodying.
Yes.
Except he's not that much of a Casanova.
No.
Like, this is the guy that Donny Benet is like running laps around while also making fun of him.
Yes.
But like he's got some interesting tunes. So like it's not a loss. You know, like,
no.
If we're going on the Spotify count, he's got 111 monthly listeners. So he's the least of the three so far.
Yes.
And he's done the most work.
Yes.
It do be hard out there.
It do.
I mean, we discovered he had that one songwriting credit for that one country artist.
Yeah.
That got played on like SNL and stuff. So hopefully he got some money from that.
I'm sure he did.
Old $2.
A whole $7.50. I will say I remember him seeming like a very nice dude, but what I remember about him the most is when he was getting into his car at the end of the show and he looked kind of upset.
I don't remember that.
I do.
Did anything like? What do you like? Did he not stay for the whole show? Did he, like?
No, he remember when we were just out at the back talking with Petite League?
Yeah.
He got out and like just walked to his car and like he had like a very serious look on his face that was like bordering on upset. And like I remember you said that like he did a good job tonight, and he was just like thank you, and just got in his car and drove off.
Oh, well,
I could be misremembering this too. It was 3 years ago.
I tried to make him feel better, I guess.
Yeah,
but
Dominic, we got to hang out again sometime next year.
We got to see a show.
We do.
Well, I feel bad that he didn't have a good. I think honestly, if it was at a bad time, it's because it just was not like he wasn't the vibe. Like he was good, but like
he was good, but he was kind of the odd man out.
Yeah, like
I mean, he had a saxophone player,
and of course, I love the saxophone.
Yeah.
I also have an article here that
pretend I'm doing something here.
I have an article for that someone from Lonely H was the band that they died.
Aw.
Ben Eyestone. So
that's sad.
That is sad to hear. I stalked Mark Fredson's Instagram for a minute. He's got a killer handle, Mark of the Feast.
Yes.
And but yes, he hasn't really been doing anything related to music. It looks like I went through his pages quite a few months and nothing.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the feast, though, just to a quick thing. You remember your one goal of the year, Trix?
What was that?
How many hot dogs were you gonna eat?
Oh, I was gonna eat 365.
How many have you eaten?
Less than 50, probably.
That was a 2023 goal.
You've got a hell of a fucking month coming up.
Lizzie Overdrive.
Now, that said, he did release an album in October of 2023. So, he did put out music semi-recently.
Semi-recently, yes.
I don't think it really did much.
No.
A couple songs have like 2,000 plays on Spotify, but the others
Let
are
me
not
check
even...
YouTube Music. It's probably triple digits.
The first
Mark
album, Going to the Movies, has some songs with like 10,000, almost 20,000 plays.
He has 28 subscribers. This is just on Going to the Movies, because all of his stuff is split up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. His top track on that is Into the Moonlight. Nothing But Night.
Nothing But Net.
That was the joke. He was trying so hard to get that joke across at the show too. I remember.
Oh, I would have been there to laugh with him.
My kryptonite is that I do not remember. I do not like experience shows the way most people should, I think.
I also just had a giant grin on my face for that entire show. I was loving every minute of it.
That's totally fair. I think shows overwhelm me enough that like if I don't know the songs, I am probably not going to take them in.
Oof. Nothing
Good
but
news on the
night.
baseball game here, lads. I've gone from 7-1 down to 7-0. Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Last innings. Let's fucking do this.
But I'm looking at Nothing But Night, all double digits except for Late Night Don't Judge Me 1K.
It's not a bad song. I like it. You know,
Yeah.
of this album, I think the first song is pretty strong. I've seen Bluer is pretty cool. Mustard Avenue being like an instrumental is really fun.
Mustard Avenue is great.
I think he's a talented singer, and I think I think the album does a really good job at like showing him off and kind of showing like, no, he can belt, he can do this, he can do that. You know, he is worth paying attention to. Please, someone hire him for your band or something.
Yeah, and he's also playing the piano all at the same time.
Yeah, and you know, some of the songs have a good vibe, you know, about masculinity and God, what was the fucking lyric? Go back to high school, go read some Roxanne Gay. Yeah, it was fun.
This was fun.
He has a song about dating a girl that's a little bit younger, but he likes it that way.
That's a little creepy.
But, you know, a little bit, you know, a couple of years his junior,
Yeah.
I believe, is how he praises it. So if we take him literally, he's probably still in our 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, nothing super much to say about Mark Fredson, but, like, again, not like like I was so impressed, but he's solid. I can see why someone would select him to be, you know, playing, right? Like, even if it was just a filler for like a slot, definitely worth having.
Definitely.
You maybe have to like make sure the vibe is right, but
yeah, and he seems like a fun dude too. Like I posted that Instagram screenshot where he's all dressed up in fucking McDonald's characters.
Yeah.
Which segue, you had a McRib today.
I did have a McRib today.
I also had a McRib today.
How was your McRib?
My McRib was good, and I ordered it on my own volition. I didn't know Dominic had a McRib. I ordered the McRib before he got his.
Well, as we're recording this is just after I finished editing our last mini-sode where we got drunk during the election.
Yeah.
Which was a hell of an episode to edit because of the mic issues.
Yes.
And I promised on that show that I'd get a McRib and have it because you wanted me to.
Yes.
Because it'd been several years since I had one, and I remember the last time I had it, it wasn't that great. So
have I brought you around to the McRib?
It's good. I'm not looking to order it all the time, especially if I'm like on the go. It's a messy food.
Oh yeah, it is purely a I'm going home and I'm gonna be a fat ass sandwich.
Yeah,
which is exclusively how I eat McDonald's.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is everything going all right over there?
Yeah, I just have a partner who's just smacking a bottle that doesn't kind of seem realize that it's coming onto the fucking audio. Stop fucking smacking it!
Ritz, so we can include you into the conversation.
Oh no, I think she's taking good control of this conversation.
When was the last time you had a McRib?
Never.
When was the last time Ash had a McRib?
What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell's wrong with me? You're fucking talking about eating McRibs. Ash, you ever had a McRib? Yeah, no one fucking has it here because we have taste.
You guys have the McRib Deluxe over there occasionally, which adds fucking lettuce and tomato onto it.
And you know what I'm not eating? The fucking McRib.
I will eat a McRib in Australia one of these days.
You said it was your favorite sandwich.
It is genuinely one of my favorite sandwiches.
Oh, you're backpedaling a little bit.
Well, no, it's I think did I say it was my favorite sandwich?
You said it was your favorite sandwich. Favorite.
Okay, let me think here for a second because it flips between like the Cuban and the McRib. The last Cuban I had was pretty kind of mid. The pork in it kind of tasted like turkey. So, but my last McRib was fucking excellent. So, yeah, McRib's my favorite sandwich.
All right. I can't say that in good faith. I still think the McChicken is better, as basic as a selection as that is.
Every time I get a McRib, there's way too much mayo.
That's fair.
Or not a McRib, a McChicken.
Hello, Manny.
Like I call him, like a friend and I call him McCum shots.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a name.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess if I had to, I'm not against ordering another one, but it's certainly not something I'm going to go for, especially because I usually get McDonald's when I need to eat something and I'm on the go.
That's fair. I I like to be self-indulgent. I love a McRib.
Well, you love a McRib, but what do you love about Mark Fredson's album?
This is a fun album that was kind of fun. I put it on in the background at work while I was cleaning, and it's great for that.
I can imagine.
Like I was scrubbing out the moldy pipes underneath the sink with fucking Nothing But Night going on. And I'm just like, yeah, this is all right.
Favorites, least favorites?
Kind of a blender because I listened to it in that situation and I couldn't like really look at my phone, so I'm not gonna be able to give you like a number one or number two.
I like Mustard Avenue. I like Late Night Don't Judge Me. I've Seen Bluer, Drag Me Away, and all good stuff.
Now that I got reminded, Mustard Avenue, the instrumental, got that one out.
My least favorite's probably something like Sorry Johnny.
This was a full blender for me. I couldn't really even remember much of this one, although again, I didn't hate it while listening to it. So I can't give you a favorite or least favorite because I just that's how it is.
It's okay.
But on the bright side,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
the 11th inning. I'm up 11-9, top of the 11th.
And we're out of pre-2024 albums.
I think this was a fun little experiment.
So
what do you guys think?
I mean, I like revisiting the bands that I've seen live and actually appreciating their music because I definitely did not take it in when I listened to them.
Yep.
Fritz, it seems like you got nothing out of it, but that's okay.
If I'm gonna go back to any of them, it's gonna be Ore.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And since we're here with Trix already, let's go to Team Mekano.
All right.
So I would just want to point out for this one, Trix, I have recommended this one to a good friend of mine. Shout out Darren. Darren's been a great sidekick, I'm going to call over this adventure I've done this year because he's given me all that free accomo. He's also gone to a bunch of the gigs that I have because he's he's able to listen to this type of music and enjoy it. So he goes to a bunch of cyber grind. He's gone and listened to We Will Look Back at You and Love You Forever, all that.
Hell yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I recommended this one, and he said this is the first album he's listened to all year that gave him a headache.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
And I look at this album and I'm like, damn, they really evolved.
I fucking love this.
I don't know what to think about this. I did actually listen to the debut one. I think I wasn't there for that episode, but I might be wrong. It might have just been when it was selected. But it was it was our introduction into Hex D, and it's something that we've kind of somewhat talked about, but haven't really since.
Yeah.
This isn't one of my favorites of the year. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not gonna hose a lie and say there weren't moments where I didn't vibe with it.
It loops back around to being somewhat important as far as like, it's not that far from Cybergrind. It's not that far from Look Back at You.
It's not. I just want you guys to know that this album listens like my Twitter feed reads.
I'm so sorry. Actually,
Yeah,
you're probably in a better part of Twitter than I am then at this point.
Yeah.
I just go on the Dissonant Waves account and look at the porn that's on the front page. That's it.
So if we ever get Ted Cruz, we have our we know who did it.
No, we won't get Ted Cruz because I'll admit it. It's like, all right, you guys like porn? Yeah, it was me. I thought it was fucking sue me. I'm like,
I mean,
but yeah, I wanted to expand on that a little bit. Like literally, when I look at like these album titles and like the sound effects and like I listen to it, it's like, oh, I recognize all of these from Twitter.
I mean, that probably makes sense. Like, where else are you gonna get a lot of this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, the thing about Hex D that separates it from like a lot of the DIY we've listened to and Cybergrind and all that is that it is heavily meme focused, heavily sample, like taking things we've heard before and slowing them down, extending them, altering them a little bit so they're still recognizable but different enough, and making songs out of them. This one does it a little bit less. Like, there are actual like beats coming on this.
Yes, there are.
You know who should listen to this is Dan Macy.
Yes, which I'm sure he will. He's gonna watch this episode. He likes every fucking Twitter post we do.
Don't
Dan.
even tag anybody in this. Just tag Dan.
And then this episode is just gonna be called "Damn Macy, please listen to Team Mekano."
Yeah.
Fair.
No, but
No,
Dan, thank you for liking our tweets.
I could
Yes,
just
thank
message
you.
him on Discord right now. Just listen to Team Mekano.
Just give him a link to the Bandcamp page.
No, I honestly want it to wait. Want to wait for him to see the episode title.
In fact, does the Cybergrind Discord have a Last FM fucking page? Can I just go? Who knows? Fucking Team Mekano.
Yep. Like,
Yep.
Have it on there. It does. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Who knows artist Team Mekano? And let's just go press enter onto that. And let's see. Doesn't look like that he's in the top 10. That's disappointing.
oh yeah.
Bummer. I'll have to start using Last FM in 2025.
I've kind of like stopped using it a bit because I haven't linked it up to my phone, and that's where I got a lot of listening that hasn't
Yeah.
been tracked.
Yeah, I just have to link it up to my phone because I only listen on my phone.
Well, this is
But at the same time, I also don't want people to know that I listen to one song like 30 times in a row in one evening.
I don't want people to know I listen to fucking Team Mekano.
Hey,
I do.
I tell people that I listen to Sabazius as a result of our fucking Wrapped fucking things coming out.
My top artist was the Growlers.
No one asked. You could have.
Yeah.
You just canceled yourself.
Yeah.
I canceled myself. I'm so sorry.
This is just a funny ass fucking music to listen to. HexD is just weird. I can't ever, unlike Cybergrind and Claustrophobia Pop,
Yeah.
I can't ever see myself actually engaging and going into all the underground of it. I think HexD just gets a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think Hex D is maybe the more cleaner version of Claustrophobia Pop.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
also just the direction that it's been going in. It's cool when we listen to it on this podcast, but it's just realistically
I
not my thing.
I think Hex D as a genre is going to be one of those dives where I spend way too many hours on the toilet just reading into shit and listening to shit.
Like the first Team Mekano we listened to, it's semi kind of like the listen to it through a Fisher Price speaker kind of vibe.
Yeah.
This is the one that feels a little bit more like produced and kind of meant to fuck with you. Like RIP headphone users does shit like doing the Discord sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like they have enough sense to like make the production clear enough that you can get fooled by it. And
Yeah.
like the title's like fucking saddest breakcore song ever, Real. That shit just hits and it just sounds right. Like that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
I think the biggest misconception you can have from listening to this album, reading all these titles and stuff like that, is that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that would be the biggest misconception because they fucking know what they're doing.
Oh, they know.
It's crafted in such a way that it's made to be uncomfortable in a certain way. It's not uncomfortable because I don't want to attack them because I think there's people trying their best. It is intentionally trying to find the most uncomfortable ways of making certain sounds happen.
Like
And that is an art form.
Yeah, if they didn't know what they were doing, it wouldn't have a beat. It wouldn't have, nearly the craft that it has. Like, in a way, Trix, you remember that one time we did a mini-sode and Ritz was sick and we live reviewed an album?
Oh yeah.
That 15-second one?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
That one was Come Crossed by Anime Slay Woman.
Correct. And like that was a little bit less of there was less meat on that bone because it was 15 seconds or whatever. But it's that kind of vibe of like you do have to put some level of like thought into making that a thing.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of like haha fuck you, also random XD, also 7 levels of irony.
But there are genuinely moments on here as well in which when it doesn't do that, you are vibing along.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what makes it incredible. It's like see, things can just piss you off in 10 seconds, and you go, and just disregard it. But it's the fact that this album can draw you in and then piss you off like that, which is what makes it as genius as it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, it's not something that I find myself wanting to really go back to, because when it comes to like what's my actual music taste and stuff, this ain't credit. But that doesn't mean I'm not impressed by this.
I should mention I bought this.
Oh hell yeah! I'd also like to mention that the first Team Mekano album we covered was in my kitchen album rotation,
God.
mostly just to fuck with my coworkers on slow days. But it actually helped through a rush or two. So
See, to me,
shout out.
Project 2000, the original album, is like the joke one that you put on in that situation. But this is like this is the real album though. Like this is like, oh, they fucking know what they're doing even more so now, and they're putting out an album that like is notably improved and notably like even more specific and weird.
Well, here's the question I wonder, because Team Mekano isn't just like a couple people; it's like a whole group of people doing different things on their own. I wonder if there's even like returning people on this album, because that's not something I really looked into.
I mean, I can look it up.
You know, we spent like an hour already on this episode, and we haven't even gone past Trix's topics.
That's how you know I picked good shit this week, okay?
You picked important shit.
Once a year, Trix, once a year.
Yeah.
No, we forgot the other Team Mekano album in between these two, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh well. Oops, shit! I just spilled water out of my bong. I should be more careful with this. It's glass. I bought myself a nice glass bong for once, as opposed to a plastic or silicone one.
Ah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah. It's actually like I ordered a clear one and they sent me a rainbow one. So like, were they calling me a faggot?
Calling you whatever they wanted to call you.
Well, I don't care because I fucking love it.
Here we go. Classic Project 2000.3 GP. And I can't find it normally because it's spelled weird. It's spelled in that like fucking YouTube font.
I want to see what some of these song titles would come up as on an original iPod.
Oh God. Well, the new ones, they'll be fine.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Project 2000.
I mean I had it. I bought this, so yeah. So some of these people do return.
That's good.
Daddy Yonqui is here.
Yes, that guy.
DJ.
I recognize that name.
Tekenyo.
Recognize that one too.
Anthony One. Don't
recognize that one, but I'll take your word for it.
Anthony One did tracks 1, 4, and 8.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Salty Kova.
Okay.
Only one that's not. Yeah, Frankie Lampert is the only one that's not here. It looks like. Oh well.
Oh well.
I mean, we don't have the fucking Suicide Girls fucking, what is it? You Make Me Suicidal song.
Sean Kingston.
The Sean Kingston song.
Beautiful Girls.
Yes, there we go.
I love that song. I'm not even gonna lie.
Like, we don't have a moment like that where it gets so in depth on what it's like covering that it's like, oh wow. But it does go its own way and do its own thing, and I think it is the better album, this new one.
Yeah, I agree.
Favorites, RIP headphone users, Chilean references with gringo undertones, saddest break horse song ever, Real, Toxic Eerie Brain Rot. Least favorite song is probably Tekenyo Atom Bomb.
I'm gonna agree, but instead of Tekenyo Atom Bomb, I think it's gonna be Geometry Crash. My least favorite.
Yeah, Geometry Crash is my least favorite. Or Cash. Toxic Eerie Brain Rot, one of my favorites. As the girls in Uboa shirts. Gloom Gaze something.
Tumblr?
Gloom Gaze, Tumblr, Hyperstitional.
Is this the first album we've done that has Tumblr just in it?
Fuck.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Wow. Truly crossing a threshold.
None of us have Tumblrs.
I had a Tumblr back in the day.
I I can't figure out Tumblr for the life of me. I'm too Gen Z for it.
Oh, it was so fun. God, I wish it was back.
DashCon 2!
You know, DashCon happened like 45 minutes from my house.
I'll get in the ball pit.
I only
There was
found
a
it.
fucking... I didn't go to it because I had other plans, but there was a fucking show at the Factory Theatre 3 days ago. So it happened on the Sunday. And they had a ball pit there. It wasn't a kids show. It was just they brought a ball pit.
Can
Someone
you imagine a
needs-
mosh pit and a ball pit?
Someone needs to write DashCon the musical.
I'm sure there's been attempts.
Yeah.
Did you hear that there was Raygun the musical and it got cancelled because Raygun threatened to sue?
She's no fun.
Yeah, it's an actual thing.
Well,
It was comedians basically planned it like 2 weeks before it was supposed to air. So
damn.
it's gonna be really
Damn.
shit. But yeah, Raygun threatened to sue. So
And your fucking libel laws are extreme over there.
Yeah.
Well, Cat is back. Trix, your stuff is done, I think. Who do you want to move on to next?
I think it is.
I think out of just like tradition, we have to leave King Gizzard to last.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
So we go for the ephemeras.
Yeah, let's talk about the ephemeras.
All right. Let's go similarly to what we did before. We'll start with some of the more boring stuff. Let's talk about Angelus.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, but I just wasn't huge into it.
Yeah, I feel like it's the best way to sum it up. It was fun and inoffensive.
I always give some props to when one of you pick a Australian artist that I don't know of. But I think this is necessarily an Australian artist you didn't know of.
I mean, it was something that I kind of just screened a little bit, like, oh, this sounds decent, and it does sound decent, but it's not like a super catching artist for me.
Mm-hmm.
233, so it's like an all level amount of listeners per month. You know, some of the songs on Ephemera, you know, this is an EP that is made up of songs that have been released over the last few years. So some of the songs have had a few hundred or a few 5-digit listeners, let's say. So you know, there's been some attention.
according to the Instagram picture of this, it says Ephemera by WB Yeats, one of my faves. Make it free, making a mixtape for you. We'll post soon. And there's been a couple of show announcements since and stuff like that. It seems like it's been a somewhat quiet year. But I think they're pretty young into their career as well, so it's not like it's always in.
I mean, they've been putting out since 2020, so you know, I think it's, you know, a few singles here and there, just kind of, I think, learning how to do the thing. And if that is the case, they definitely have like gotten like the synth pop down. Like they got like the dreamy
this
ethereal.
This is a very competent album.
Yeah.
EP.
Yes.
I'm kind of looking for the part where they go beyond just competent and kind of put more of their own style into it.
But you know, it's a young artist, and you can't always expect that the young artist nailed it at the start when it comes to here's the things that you need to listen to. Absolutely, like, oh, look how different it is. But yeah, it's good. It's just it's probably the least interesting out of all the ethereals or whatever, ethereal, whatever
Ephemeras.
the title, Ephemera.
I mean, like I said, there was like a bunch of them, and I screened some of the others. At least this one at least jumped out a little bit, being at least somewhat interesting. So I mean, I don't regret picking it, but it's like, you know,
It's no Alex Boniello.
No. It's also not the two big ones either.
Fuck. No.
Yeah, and no favorite or least favorite really for this one. It's just kind of a blender, but it's fine.
Yeah, if you like kind of dreamy indie, you'll like this. That's really all we can say.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you wish we could have more to say, but just realistically we don't.
Then let's switch over to the artist with probably the least amount of monthly listeners, 64, the Samphires. Unless anyone has any favorites or least favorites from Angelus.
Nah, I didn't. I like the Samphires one a lot more. This one was surprisingly really tight.
Yeah, the thing that kind of struck me is that it sounds a little bit like what's her name? Tyler Cried?
Don't know.
Tyler Hyde from Black Country New Road.
Oh, okay, thank you.
The singing is a little bit like Tyler Hyde's.
Hmm.
It's like very, I don't know how to describe it. There's like a lilt to it that's kind of like
Like a strong accent kind of thing coming through.
strong accent, yeah, something like that, I guess. It's a distinct one.
Is it
It's
just the fact
Yeah.
that they're from England?
no.
Are you discovering what an English accent is, good sir?
Maybe it just sounds like it's in the mouth, like it's very upfront.
Yes,
Yeah.
have you discovered the English language, good sir?
I don't remember enough about Black Country New Road to back you up here, Domino.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, this was a little album that they put out. It's basically an EP. They just for some reason decided to be cheeky and make the last song super long for no reason.
There's a
A
bonus
little
track at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's from what I can tell, it's the title track as well because it has Ephemera in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
But
is
the title track's the actual intro, which goes to 22 seconds.
yes,
Hmm.
but like song like I was gonna say this with Angelus, but like this is why I like when I can take something like Kick by Hand every now and then because it's like I think this falls into a similar category, being like totally competent, totally fine.
Yeah.
Sneeze, fuck.
Oh,
It's cool,
What a
Domino.
violent
I've been
fucking
coughing
sneeze.
off after bong rips all episode.
God, I had to really wind up for that one. Anyway, my body hurts.
oof.
I might pack a second bowl here in a minute.
Yeah, like "Never Gonna Be Your Baby" is a really kind of cool song. I think it's I think it shows their talent pretty well. It's not like an amazing album with like a lot of like range and like a story or anything like that necessarily. But it's kind of a portrait of a young band kind of like finding their sound.
Yeah, it's also not as cleanly produced as an album as well, which kind of helps to go along with this kind of like understanding that's a young band. Like you're not thinking this is a bunch of people with a shit ton of money. Like it feels like it's just a bunch of people who just said, "Fuck it, let's make a band and put out an album," and
Yeah, like
it's nice. It's again, it's not anything that's breaking through in the whole like top stuff of the year or anything like that. But
no.
when you cover these young bands, you should never really be expecting them to fully have that creativity or sound fully locked in and knowing direction. It's more getting stuff out and just trying something. And this one just it felt fun. I again, not really much I can say other than that. I think in this one, I remembered the singing a lot more than I have from anything else that we've covered. But she had some absolutely lovely vocals
Yes.
go on her, which I thought complemented the instrumentation in quite well. Cute little indie rock. Don't know what else.
I had to switch up my setup. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah. We can make you fan.
Okay, I'm
Commenters,
holding
can
it
you
like
hear
a
Trix
phone.
all right?
A little bit more,
What?
a little more muffled, but we're fine.
Yeah, I just switched to holding it like a phone. My fucking dongle gave out on me entirely.
Well, it looks like the names of the band members. We got Elise Shields, Michael Dunwell, and Rosa Thomas. I don't know which one is the singer, but I think he did pretty good.
I'm gonna say it's all three of them at the same time.
I was kind of hoping that there was going to be like an 11.5 minute epic that was going to like end the album. So I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, I think the art of the bonus track doesn't fit in this day and age. It was something, back in the old vinyl or CD. I mean, CD was a lot easier because people would just leave it on and wait for it to end, and then a bunch of silence, and then it would happen. That's not. Fuck it. I think I have John Butler Trio. I'm pretty sure has like a 20-minute closing track on the CD. For I'm just gonna fucking find it. Yeah, for Sunrise Overseas. Sometimes, the actual song ends like 8 minutes in or something.
Sure.
Ends 10 minutes in, so it's a pretty long track to go on for. And then like you get these little fucking ambient sounds that come in, and that's it.
All right.
No actual bonus track. It's just you waiting there. You get a bit of ambience, and then it's just That's it.
Edging a bonus track.
Yeah,
It's
21 minutes. So
kind
like,
of a fuck you in a way, but
Yeah.
Homestar Runner, with Strong Bad Sings compilation. That one was fucking funny. It's Everybody to the Limit does a live track, and then it goes silent, and then it's just Homestar Runner just going secret song for like 40 seconds.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
One of these days, I got to really like sit down and try and get into Homestar Runner.
I feel like that's such a millennial thing. I don't know if it'll translate.
I know, but like my mom showed me the internet very, very early. So like I relate to like the millennial side of the internet too.
Trix, I promise you next year we'll do an episode where we just watch Homestar Runner and we cover Strong Bad Sings and other type hits.
Oh yeah, it'll be like my Schoolhouse Rock.
Hell yeah.
Homestar Runner unironically has a lot of music history.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with the music, believe it or not.
Yeah. The system is down.
I remember my mom played Everybody to the Limit all the time.
Classic.
Yeah.
And we just had Kick by Hand do a Homestar Runner thing, didn't they?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the laser lemons.
Yep.
I follow Homestar Runner on Twitter.
Does he still post?
Yeah, occasionally. He mostly just like responds to like fan art.
Oh, I can't imagine how much
Yeah,
porn
well-
there is now.
I hope not.
I think occasionally a merch plug.
Well, the Chapmans have got other shit that they're doing in their life, so Homestar Runner is just like, it's not an afterthought, but it's just like not usually their priority as much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Samphires, I think, this is a nice little EP album thing. Definitely a band to at least kind of pay attention to and see if they release more stuff and, how far they take it.
Yeah.
I'm curious if they're doing shows and stuff, or like if they're really putting themselves out there at all. Because they've been like the demos go back to 2019, so it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there is more stuff in the pipeline.
I wouldn't even be surprised if those are like the original variants that they would have released, and then they just like said, "Screw it, let's re-record and call these demos."
Probably.
But we weren't there. We weren't there for it. So,
Yeah.
favorites, least favorites.
I like Coppers. I like Never Gonna Be Your Baby.
I'm gonna say cheese sandwich for me because I can't really look at the track listing right now.
Favorites, Never Gonna Be Your Baby. Least favorites, probably something like Face to Face or Potentials.
My least favorite's Pretty For You, just because of the fucking 11.5-minute tease they put on there.
That's fair.
Like, it's a fine song, and it's the title track, the actual title track. It's actually probably one of the better ones on the album, but I was really hoping they were gonna have like this epic, but that's also just me expecting too much sometimes.
So Dominic, are we continuing on with the ephemeral, the ephemera, the euphoria?
I'm fine to keep going with it if you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because now we can talk about Ben Quad doing Screamo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't expect him to do a full Scrams EP, but here we are.
Yeah, I listened to the other one that we did, Hand Signals, again, just to make sure.
Yep.
And like, no, they completely changed it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you listen to their earlier stuff, yeah, no, this is different.
It is.
And I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I am seeing them in January.
It's cool. It's cool. It fucks, but I think I just expected to like this a lot more than I actually did.
I think I like it more than Hand Signals.
I definitely enjoy Hand Signals more, but that's me.
I mean, this definitely is like scrams of like the third wave or so kind of thing. Like it's of a sound, but I think they do the sound really well.
Yeah, I mean, I always give props to a band when they just go, just fuck it, we're doing this now.
And I like when bands have that variety and that willingness to like do those different things. Hopefully, it like coalesces into like a large discography.
Yeah. I think what's worth mentioning as well is I'm pretty sure this is their first release on Pure Noise.
Probably.
They used to be on Wax Bodega, so
yeah, their last release was through Wax Bodega, so
yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like they're going into Pure Noise. So fuck it, if you're gonna go into a heavy label and do heavy, just why not? When in Rome.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be there for Knuckle Puck and Origami Angel, so I feel like it fits in either way.
Yeah.
Um, I dig
Yeah.
this. I think it's. Like I said, I like when bands can change like this. I do think like I did not create the rules, starting with like kind of a trap inspired beat and then switching it up is a really fun like double switch up.
I think the big thing also as well when bands do change ups like this, even though this isn't the craziest kind of switch to do, like they had a bit of screaming elements on hand signals with holding patterns. The biggest like fear that bands can have when they do a change of sound is sounding out of place. But no, they sound that is not the problem here. They definitely sound in their own element here. They are definitely fit to do this change of sound and go full on with it. So that's not the problem. Maybe this is like comparing like the rave tapes earlier this year where you wanted more of that kind of industrial sound that they had going on.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah.
I feel like that's how I feel with Ben Quarters. I think I just prefer their math rock stylings more to their kind of. I feel like a lot of the fun that I had out of Ben Quarters is a bit lost in the CP.
I think we're very used to scrams being really chaotic and really like intense and harsh.
And we definitely don't have another one of those this week.
And so I like the variety of like this versus Blind Girls, where this is a little more not that and a little more, not clean, but I guess the classic scrams kind of stylings.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was like a little bit of a nice like, oh yeah, this is still a fun sound. A little nice reprieve. And like I feel like hand signals was almost too little of material for me to really get into Ben Quad in the first place. So having this also kind of now on the show is at least a little like, okay. Yeah, okay. There's something interesting happening with it.
Yeah.
But we're still building the house of cards. I think another pass or two of Ben Quad will be needed.
Yeah.
Favorites, least favorites of this? I think my favorites are I do not create the rules and you'll get nothing and like it. Least favorites probably something like Exit Wounds or the title track.
I do not create the rules in your face as an effigy. My least favorite's probably the title track.
I'm gonna throw down a cheese sandwich.
I was very close to doing that as well. All right. Last Ephemera. Ephemera copyright. Postcard Nowhere's new album.
Yes.
And we knew this was gonna be the best of the four.
Yeah.
I just knew it's not gonna be a surprise.
It's
good.
I cannot believe how much he sounds like Phil Elverum.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Mount Eerie Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mount Eerie Light, but also like still that 90s slacker energy. Sometimes still going into like the harsh like Nirvana grunge energy. It's a really interesting mix of like different 90s stylings kind of thrown together. Like something like Tear You Apart's a nice like skating song. Pocket of Light is a very like ambitious opener.
Yeah.
And then there's like a lot of like sound experimentation. Like this is the band now. So like this is like the first time Postcard Nowhere has a fucking like band to work with.
Yeah.
And I think they do a really good job of like tapping into that.
They do.
I think the biggest problem with this album, and it's just coming with the fact that we're at that part of the year where we're going to be ranking everything in that. And I think this has just come out too late for me to properly digest.
That's fair.
That's fair. Like I can't
say any of this will make my top 100 because I don't think I can properly digest it in time, and it's just I can't get the focus on it. And I want to. This is the type of album to come out, and then in a decade, when I look back at the whole decade and go, what should have made a countdown? There will be a song off this that should have made it.
I mean,
I can guarantee you, but I can't tell you which one it would be.
It's such an evolution from Juvenilia.
Yeah.
Like something like I was thinking like there's the song Birds Cannot Sing in Caves, and it goes through so many different parts. And it's a longer song. It's like almost 9 minutes, and like we already have Horseless Headman, Headless Horseman.
I'll be alone again.
But like Birds Gonna Sing Caves reminded me a lot of Rubber Duck or Runner Duck.
Yeah, the Your Arm song.
Yeah, just kind of like that mid-track, like kind of everything stops and we kind of just experience something else for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's surrounded by these other more experimental, ambient, ethereal tracks. Like Storm, Storm, Storm is just kind of a. It just sounds like there's a storm outside, and they're kind of playing a little bit, but it's mostly just like a sound experience.
Mm.
And the hum is again a lot more ambient with some singing and stuff, but it's like one of those tracks like there's so much layering with like vocals and there's so much interesting different little things that B. Lambert kind of throws in there to make the tracks stand apart from each other. Like this is my favorite of the week, and I'm just taken by how much it's like how much I forgot but also remembered how good B. Lambert is.
Yeah.
Because like I liked Momentary Warmth, I liked the EPs, but I didn't remember how good the song craft can be.
Yes.
Like Juvenalia was on our, at least Ritz's and mine, I can't remember Trix's, but it was on our top of the list, like somewhere on our top of our list that year it came out for a reason.
Top 20, 2022, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my number 12.
Yeah, it was somewhere in there for me too, I think. But it was like, it was there for a reason.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so having this be the evolution of that and showing what a full band can like do with what B. Lambert's doing, I just am like, God damn.
It's a good album.
Yeah, it's a good album.
It doesn't do that kind of like whole solo moments that much like we got on Juvenalia as well. I think they're starting to more be pushed under like songs like Mist and Rocket, which and around the sound of like Around is going into some of the Postcard Nowhere stuff, but stuff like Mist and Rocket feels like that's more like the Momentary Warm stuff now, and it feels like it's kind of like Juvenalia has been split into different projects.
I mean, as the Bandcamp says, Juve is dead. The end of an era.
Yep.
And like the album art is very much the guy on the cover of Juvenalia getting shot in the head.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think intentional.
Yeah.
The interesting thing I thought was the use of one of the Xenia Ohio tracks.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a little cleaned up, but it's largely the same.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like I'm like why even bother making that like a whole side project if you're just gonna reincorporate a song anyway? Although to be fair, it is no longer on the Senior Ohio EP on Bandcamp.
Nah, we got it just in time.
Yeah, I have it downloaded on my computer, and it was track 4, and now it's not, unless it just is secretly there when you actually buy it. And again, that one says I made this in 2 days on a tape machine, and I can see how when B says that this album went from August 2022 to October 2024, that's probably kind of why.
Hmm.
Like for me, this is definitely the highlight of the week because there is just the thing I think I miss. Now that this year I've covered a lot of the artists we keep returning to. Like I've covered a lot of the Paranol, I've covered a lot of the Origami Angel this year. The thing that this album has that I miss from those artists right now is the feeling of experimentation, the feeling of discovery. We've gotten to a point with a lot of those artists where we know like where the bottom of the pool is. We understand the dimensions of the shape that they're performing in. With B. Lambert, there's so much. Like there's Momentary Warmth, there's Xenia Ohio, there's all these other projects and ideas and things that like, yes, there's like a more limited genre scope sometimes. Like this is not Origami Angel doing fucking bossa nova and all this other shit whenever they want to. But because there is a willingness to like do these other projects and have these little side things and expand and keep evolving the craft, then I think it still has that nice feeling of discovery. I'm not tired of it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I it's not gonna be my top of the year, no, but I'm still like kind of like being along for the ride, having that discovery.
I'm glad we covered this when it's come out in this year, because I think this is one that I will come back to, and I will have more stronger opinions when I'm just able to properly digest it. It's the biggest hindrance we've done is covering this when we've had a lot to cover. And at a point of the year in which there was a lot of burnout happening, and it's just all like, oh my god, we're at this point. But still, throughout all that, I probably agree this is one of the better ones. I don't think it's my favorite of the week, but I think like in a year it will be.
That's fair.
I mean,
I'm allowed to use that line because Pete used that in episode 100 with which one was it? I think it was 100 gigs. He said that.
probably.
Probably.
That said, I did try to set this one up. This was supposed to be kind of the focus of the week, but nonetheless, you can't ever control quite what happens when you do the listening.
Yeah.
Nope. Hello, Manny. You're back again.
Favorites of this for me are, as you say, like you could definitely tell this is a fucking like Phil Elverum style inspired from Pocket of Light Part 1.
Yeah,
and that's such a good opener. I do like Nothing Again. That was classic on there. And I can't remember them all by titles, but I did like Sisyphus. I don't really have a least favorite of this because in fact my favorites will probably change after a while. But yeah, that's how I am at the moment. For
this seems like a really Ritz coded album too, because it's so starkly using like the harsh and the calmness.
I know. I can't believe that's how much I forget on this kind of thing. But remember, again, it is, despite not being as contrasting as say Juvenalia, there was still quite that aspect happening on this one.
Pocket of Light just has those hits like wow, like kind of like if you
Pocket of Light's probably my favorite.
If you made the creep things in the Radiohead song like part of the song for real, yeah. I like Pocket of Light Part 1, Tear You Apart, Birds Cannot Sing in Caves. Again. At least favorite. I don't know if I have least favorite.
You don't have to have one.
Yeah. I'll say Pocket of Light is my favorite and no real least favorites.
Alright, so now ending this off with my shit.
Yes.
How we usually end it. I guess let's finish off the Screamo. This will be a short one to talk about. We covered it, I believe, earlier this year with Hanoi, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, we covered Blind Girls. They had an album out this year. I've mentioned that the singer has taken one of my plushies. Therefore, putting Blind Girls into the category of based. The other thing that's obviously been pretty cool that we covered was the Super Death side project.
Yeah.
So now we got the third album. I think this one is a lot more memorable and a lot better than the last two, but let's see what you two think.
I will say, with your picks, I'm a little bit at a disadvantage because I didn't listen to them as much.
Yep, that's fair.
But I do think this is the most interesting Blind Girls album of the bunch. It has a lot more interesting variety.
Yep.
To a very dedicated sound.
It was cool hearing the clean vocals actually happening on Lilac as well.
Yes, Less Than 3 is just a really weird song that I was really digging when I was listening to it for like my most recent time.
Yeah.
And the I gotta say, like, one of the fucking titles of the fucking year for a song is AI generated love letter.
That is a hell of a song track.
And then the lyrics is, I counted days that passed without you, a dream away, tormented by the abandoned love letters carved into my arms.
I could never pretend the clouds would ever part for us again. You and I could never tear apart the sky.
And that's it. It's like, it's very fucking like short lyrically, these songs. Like, this is a 22-minute album.
And it works for that.
Yeah.
Doesn't overstay its welcome. Has like little interlude tracks like Pallid Mask that I think, again, kind of just bring a little bit of like variety and calmness just to give you a little bit of a breather.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to structure their shit.
They do.
And it's even, I think it's Loveless. It's even Loveless of Dissonance. It's one of them, which has like kind of like slam breakdown at the end of it happening.
Yeah.
It's like it kind of just goes away from screamo, like the common sound of screamo for a bit, just to have a fucking breakdown, and then it just goes full back on. And this still has that kind of very chaotic sound. It feels like a very horror movie style production happening on it. But this is not music you would hear in a horror movie. It's too much for it.
Again, like we were talking a little bit before we started recording, I think the high-pitched vocals, I think Tyler Odom would do a killer cover.
Yeah, I'm just saying Lilac as well, which Lilac's my favorite of this. I think that moment where we just get that kind of break and the clean vocals come in, and it's got a very emotional sound to it, almost like she's about to cry as she's speaking. I think it's a really cool vocal style that's happening on it, and we get that kind of contrast, and it makes that hit in it just that much more fucking memorable.
Trix?
Is Trix a blind girl?
Sorry, I'm switching on my input. What was the question?
Just how you
Are
feeling
you a
about
blind girl? Yeah, how are you feeling about it? Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you are a blind girl.
Girls was fun to listen to in the kitchen. Give me a minute to pull up the track list so I can actually like talk about it a bit more in depth.
Yeah, I did like that we did have those two little. Yeah, it feels weird for a 22-minute to say filler track, but I feel like this actually is an album where it kind of needed those moments of just reprieve a bit from coming from the screen. Because I remember the first time I saw Blind Girls opening for La Dispute, and now it's just a case of like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's a really intense blast.
Yeah.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. I really don't have too much more to say about it. It's a good album to listen to in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the kitchen's cool with just the screaming for 22 minutes.
Okay, I had a really bad joke for why this is a good kitchen one. And of course it's good kitchen music because this is something to cut to.
Yeah. But as for why it's good kitchen music, I work with a woman who's like really into punk music.
Okay.
So I'm always like, here's a weird one for you, and throw on something that we cover on the podcast or something.
I'm sorry, I'm still disgusted by my own joke.
I feel like the definition of kitchen music keeps changing.
Hilarious.
I know, I just had to feel bad. And anyway.
Your definition
this goes hard.
Yeah, this goes hard. Your definition of kitchen music keeps changing, I will note.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't really have a set definition for it. Just that if I like it in the kitchen, it's kitchen music.
I mean, I can't disagree with that.
I think the worst thing this album has going for it, though, is that the best Blind Girls album this year was the Super Def album.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was incredible as well.
I think I like this more.
You think you like this more than Super Def?
Yes.
I'm surprised about that.
I'd have to listen to them back to back.
Like, my problem with the first two Blind Girls albums is that I felt that they felt similar to each other and they didn't really stand out much. This is the one that stands out.
Yeah, no, that's a full great. Like I said, I think this is the best Blind Girls album. But when I'm like joking, like obviously because Super Def's the bassist.
Right, but like this is the one that like as I was listening to it, it was like opening up for me in a way, and I'm like, okay, I'm digging what's here. So
yeah,
when I have that feeling of like an album is like literally opening up before my eyes as I'm listening to it, I'm kind of more into it.
Yeah,
and just to put out to anybody who hasn't seen Blind Girls, like straight up, it is a recommend. They are probably one of the more insane screamo bands that you're going to see. To a point of which it's not just like the chaos, it is the fact that they can play every single fucking song that they have completely on key and completely to the right without missing a fucking beat no matter what. For what is an incredibly fast-paced and chaotic music, it's not a case of like you could listen to this and without knowing and you could think, oh, I could make that, but no, you couldn't because this is perfectly constructed in a way that they can replicate. This isn't just randomness.
Do they just perform like the albums through, or do they do specific songs?
Wouldn't be surprised if they just do the album through because they're going to be playing for like half an hour.
Right. I'm just like it seems like the easy way to be just practice by doing the entire thing.
Most screamo bands usually just play their later stuff, and then that's kind of it. It doesn't usually matter. There's no real big hit that everybody's going for.
Yeah.
Music goes loud. You are screaming. We are moshing. Let's go.
Yeah, and like that's totally fine and that works. I'm just curious if that's like a thing where they kind of learn the individual tracks or they just learn it as a whole unit.
Well, there were definitely no individual tracks. They don't just play the full album. They do have breaks in between. So.
Well, yeah, like they have to stop somewhere, but
Yeah, and I'd probably have a couple like moments where I'd say be individual tracks, but I couldn't tell you the set list. Favorites, least favorites.
Well, I mean, Dissonance has Dissonant in it, of course. So
Yeah, fair enough.
I like that.
Yeah.
Less Than Three, I thought was really cool. Home Will Find Its Way. Lilac is good. I don't really have a least favorite.
Favorites for me: Less Than Three, Lilac, AI Generated Love Letter. Again, don't really have a least favorite.
Favorites for me: AI Generated Love Letter. No real least favorite.
I think this is one of those ones. Like, if this was much earlier in the year that we covered this and compared it, it would have been in my top 20 for a bit, but it just falls out because there's just been a lot of good this year. Like this is in my consideration list for the album of the year list, but it's not going to make my top. That's just the reality.
All right, now for the album I have the least to say about, Mannequin Pussy. I Got Heaven.
Oh, that fuck you! You're wrong about that.
No, not in that way. It's more of the like, I couldn't listen to it enough to truly break it open.
Okay.
It's your Ephemera by Postcard Nowhere.
What if Jesus ate your fucking snatch?
Kill it live.
I got heaven. This is basically in that same vein of Flying Girls, in which I think this would have been in my top 20 for most of the year, but it's just gonna fall short because I think this is personally my favorite of the week. It's good. It goes hard in the right places. There's some interesting moments that happen on this. Some catchy hooks. Okay. Having that kind of near hardcore breakdown happening into it, even though it's still following the same kind of vibe that everything goes on here.
I think I have a random fun fact about. I might just be pulling this out of my ass, but I feel like I remember seeing it on Lorenzo's Twitter that they're from Syracuse, New York.
Let's see. I thought
They're from Philly.
They're from
Yeah.
Philly.
At least, I mean, they're in Philly now. It doesn't mean they were always in Philly.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought they're California or something. But let's go see what Mannequin Pussy says, huh? Which
I definitely know
big
that
props to
Lorenzo
the name.
like shouted them out.
I mean, it's entirely
Yeah,
possible
that's-
that Lorenzo
yeah.
knows them or something.
Yeah.
No, they used to be a part of Tiny Engines.
No.
I mean,
But
the
I
part
like
where
this album.
the part where I was paying attention the most, that was the most intrigued, was like sometimes okay, and softly. Those songs went pretty hard.
There will be no loud bark slander.
I was literally about to say Loud Bark also went pretty hard.
Yeah, I got a loud bark. I got a loud. It's so good. It got stuck on my head like after the first time listening to it.
But this is definitely the one I need to listen to more of this coming week
Yeah.
for sure.
I think it's just the more that you divulge into the lyrics is where it's kind of actually properly shines. Like, I Got Heaven is full of a fucking bunch of bangers. I get them up because I can't remember every single off the fucking the top of my head. But we obviously had that good one of what if Jesus ate my fucking snatch? Oh yeah, what if Jesus himself ate my fucking snatch? That's a fucking other one. Yeah, now I'm growling at a stranger. I am biting at their knees.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Some other fucking just moments on here where when it just came in, it just kind of hit like at the end of Softly, the what if one day bridge.
Yeah.
As well, it's like another moment that kind of just sticks out in your head.
Yeah.
What if one day I don't want this anymore? What if one day I don't want you anymore? What if one day I don't love you anymore? It's like the way that it's kind of executed, or whatever the word they sing it, kind of just makes it hit a lot harder. It's
Mhm.
Yeah, obviously with lyrics and stuff like that, and with words and stuff, you're supposed to already get the emotion that's being said from it, but the true emotion comes out with how you present things.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's presented.
I would
perfectly.
like to give a quick shout out and say that this is going on my list of bands that I need to get a T-shirt from, just because I know other people's are too cowardly to rock these T-shirts. Up there with Diarrhea Planet.
I think like for what is a pretty heavy album, I think there is some really catchy moments on here. There was, it's got a lot of topics that I'm not going to say are unique to this band. They're not the first artist to ever put out the lines of wanting to walk out at night and be ignored.
Yeah,
or even talk about
which is a part of the reason why it's a problem, because many people are saying that they wish for that and can't get it, but that's neither here or there. And I'm not saying this in a way of even criticizing those. These are still important topics to talk about. But that being said, it's not the first time that we covered songs like that.
No.
So I don't think this is an album that's exactly bringing any new ideas to the table. Not that that's incredibly required.
it's fun.
Yeah. I think this is one of those, like, it's not like Petrol Girls, which I think had a good way of like challenging certain views of topics, or even ways like one of the big things about abortion kind of thing was people would always say, "Oh, how was it? Are you okay afterwards?" And they're basically just like, "It's fucking fine. It was a medical procedure."
Yeah.
I think this is an album that's basically like, when you listen to it, like the people who listen to this type of album already agree with everything that's been said, or kind of already know everything that's been said.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong with that. Not a criticism, but it's more so just talking about, I guess, the kind of where we're at in the stage, with
like
with punk.
They seem to be part of the similar. They're in Philly, so they're probably with like the Soul Glow crowd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had us. They were on the Destroy Boys album as well, I'm pretty sure.
Destroy Boys kind of got taken down a peg or two since we last covered them.
Yeah. It's weird.
Cowards should have come to Australia.
It's not weird that I'm always the one covering the controversial bands.
They're not that controversial. They didn't do anything themselves. I think they're just fucking idiots and defending their friends.
I can always bring back Crystal Castles.
Yeah.
They could, but that's not.
Hilarious.
It's alright. One day I'll bring back Sticky Fingers.
I never got that record.
Yeah, I wouldn't chase up on it.
Incident Waves lore. I bought the record at Guitar Center. They just never fucking shipped, and they just took my money.
In 2019, it was easier to defend them because they had only just been drugged up assholes. Now it's just worse.
It's only gotten worse since then.
It's only gotten worse. It's like, at a certain point, you just gotta go, okay, you're not helping yourself, so I'm not defending you.
We never did cover Camp Cope.
Nah, we'll do it one day. I'm not the biggest fan of that second album, even though everybody seems to love it, but it is like that first album's got some good songs off it. It's probably the best. I'll probably cover that, but it does need to be covered someday. I do need to be consistent.
Well, has Will Wagner's reputation improved at all?
Well, see, the difference between Will Wagner and Sticky Fingers is that Will Wagner did the smart move of stay away. Don't try and just like fight and do all that. Just be less out in the open of these things. Don't fucking try and talk back to Camp Cope or anything like that. And that surprisingly helps, is that when you don't keep drawing attention to your controversy, people forget.
Yeah.
I don't know people enough to really talk about the controversy anymore on that, because there are people who have been closer to Will Wagner from around that time that don't seem to want to associate with. I don't know if anything else more happened from what I saw publicly. I always thought that was a case of, it was a toxic relationship. It's not an end-all. It wasn't great, but it wasn't an end-all. But I don't know if other people have seen it as an end-all. It's been a while since I've looked at everything that's happened on it anyway, so who knows if some of my opinions would change looking back on it. But yeah, that's where it's at. Usually when it comes to a lot of these things, there are things that happen behind the scenes that people don't know of.
Yeah.
They put out an album after Don't Waste Your Anger that we never covered.
It was okay, but it wasn't as good as Don't Waste Your Anger.
That's fair.
Yeah, and it seems like nothing ever really has changed since that all happened, so
Yeah, again, that's just how it is. But back on the Mannequin Pussy, I like this album. I think it fucked.
Yeah.
Everything I have heard about it and have heard from it, like it didn't super stick with me, and I can't say a ton. But this has room to grow for me for sure.
Favorites
Yeah.
off it, I Got Heaven, Loud Bark, I Don't Know You, Sometimes, Okay, Softly. Least favorite, probably something like Nothing Like or Aching.
Just agree.
I'm gonna say cheese sandwich for me because I'm fucking exhausted and I don't feel like calling up the track listing right now.
So, well, we're at the end. We're at the end of this episode, and I guess it's only fitting. We haven't done this band in a year,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
I think we've done this band at least once every year.
There are 3 bands we do at least once a year that I'm sure of at least.
Yep.
It's this, it's Up Montreal, and it's Sufjan Stevens.
Yeah.
Sufjan, we only did one song for this year, so we kind of skirted a little bit close.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we got our King Gizzard.
Flight B741, the King Gizzard album that came out actually quite a bit ago.
In August.
August, yeah, which you would have thought I would have picked it instantly because it's more King Gizzard.
I mean, I would not think that. We didn't do the Silver Chord.
Yeah, well, more so it's the only release of the year, kind of like blah, blah, blah. But to be honest, this is an album on first listen I wasn't really sure if I was keen on or not, and I've tried many times to kind of go back onto this and like it, and I just can't.
I agree, honestly. This is generic almost.
It's a foray into a more classic rock style.
Not even, it's like Southern rock.
Yeah, Southern rock. And Le Risque was a great single to open this up on, and I think it's the best track off here. Getting that kind of little rap verse that happens into it, I think it's the most fun song off here. You know, hearing the rap about his tiny dick is a fucking moment that it's like, okay, that happens. And this is still a Gizzard album. This isn't like lost in the sense of, oh, they've lost everything that's made of them. Like, no, this is still a very distinctively from each other written album. It fits in the King Gizzard style whilst being its own sound. The songs are different from each other.
Yeah.
They go with longer tracks. There's still that bit of psychedelic. But it's, you know, I feel like listening to this is how a lot of people felt about Butterfly 3000.
This is just a genre that really isn't for us.
Yeah.
I'm not big on CCR.
I'm not sure if it's big for King Gizzard either, to be honest. I don't think this one's working out that well for them. You know, there are a lot of, this is a personal opinion. If we actually take a look at what some other people think, it's still getting some positive reviews. Double J just put out their top 50 albums. I'm pretty sure this got number 50, which is pretty low for a King Gizzard still. To be fair, but
also
you go first.
Art shouldn't be done always to please the audience. I very much believe that.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, if they want to do this and have this be a record, fuck it, why not? They've put out like 25 other ones. They can do a Southern rock record if they want to.
Yeah, and it's been as successful as a lot of their other albums has. So it's not like this is the sudden flop that's going to kill them, because that's not going to happen with King Gizzard at this point. King Gizzard is successfully at a point where they can just release whatever album they want, and if people don't like it, they will go and say, "We'll wait for the next one." So
yeah,
it's all fine. I'm happy to sit out this era of King Gizzard and wait for the next one.
If the Laminated Denim Made in Timeland stuff didn't kill it, if the 8-hour Live at Red Rocks album didn't kill it, if Butterfly 3000 didn't kill it, if releasing 5 albums in a year didn't kill it,
it's not dying.
Yeah.
But I want to point out, I've done my top 100 since 2017. I did a top 10 in 2016, but it doesn't really count when it comes to the top 100 stats. And in 2017, they made it twice in my top 100 with Crumbling Castle and Nuclear Fusion. If I did a 200, we probably would have seen something like Countdown or fucking Inner Cell or something like that make it in there. In 2018, because it was in the at the very end of 2017, that was the only 2018 album cycle they released, was Gumboot Soup. Muddy Water stuck into there, like number 90. 2019, obviously Infesta Rat's Nest got my number 1 of the year, so we had both This Thing from Fishing for Fishies and Miles for the Rich from Infesta Rat's Nest in my top. 2020, we covered KG. Intrasport, fucking banger. Still is. Intrasport's one of their best songs still.
We didn't cover KG.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't.
We didn't cover it?
No.
No, I think me and Trix might have just listened to it as it came out.
We might have.
Because I remember we both made a joke about minimum brain size.
We did Knowing on Infinity, Infest the Rat's Nest, Flying Bicatonal, Polygon, Chunky Shrapnel, Live in Sydney 21, Butterfly 3000, Omnium Gatherum, Petrogonic, and now this.
In
I
2021.
think when it came out, we were just talking about it.
Yeah. In 2021, Interior People and Catching Smoke both made my list. 2022, very fucking obviously, The Dripping Tap made it.
Yeah.
And then 23, again, just sneaking in, Flamethrower made it.
Oh, God, Flamethrower is so good.
Yeah.
So at this point, the only band that has made it into every single one of my countdowns was King Gizzard. And I think this is the year the streak ends. And that's what I'm kind of coming to terms with. It's like, I'm sorry, boys, it's just not happening this year.
I am still very curious what the follow-up is looking like. This is like part 1 or whatever.
Yeah, supposedly.
They have a fucking orchestra or something, apparently, is the idea. Like, that seems interesting.
And I'll listen to it when it comes out.
But yeah, I'm fine with this album. Like, it's fine. Like, I think, like, Raw feels cool. Sound like La Risk is obviously the best song. Hog Calling Contest is fun. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of these songs are fun. Like, I have fun listening to Daily Blues. But it's not, like, the one I'm going to go back to. Like I was saying before we got started, listening to this is what it was like listening to King Gizzard before I got into King Gizzard.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, when we first started covering them, all the albums were this. And, like, I know you love Knowing on Infinity. I know you love Infest the Rat's Nest. But to me, they were this. So,
But to be fair, your favorite was Omnium Gatherum.
yes, and that and Petrogonic are still my favorites.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is fair.
But I feel I feel just, I guess, disappointed in this year for the King Gizzard output. It just wasn't for me. That's all I can say outside of the risk. I just and I think it still speaks volumes for how good this band is. Where they're still going to probably stick into my 200 with the risk. But
But they have enough material that they have something for everybody, or they're trying to get there.
yeah, I feel like this is an album I just really wanted to like. I really thought, keep up that streak of covering them. I really thought this would be something that could be quite easy and quite a good way, I guess, or like a quite a good album to cover. But kind of just left it to you because by this point I was still trying to think how I could even feel about this album, and I guess we're finally there. I don't like it. I think it's pretty mid. Sorry, boys.
Yeah. It's not great.
I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine.
It's not like it's a bad album. It's just, if we did a list of the worst albums that we covered this year, this would be far from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could put in a list of most disappointed, I think this would be up there though, just because I did have high expectations.
Is this more or less disappointing than the Ben Quad EP?
I'm not disappointed that much in the Ben Crowd one because I think they still put out a sound that I quite enjoy.
Okay.
Favorites for me, La Risk. Least favorite's got to be something like Raw Fuel or Sad Pilot or Rats in the Sky.
Favorite for me, I'll just say La Risk. Least favorites, I don't fucking know.
I'm gonna give it a cheese sandwich.
I don't even feel like ranking this week, but we got to do it.
I am opting out on account that it's almost 5:30 in the morning and I'm exhausted.
Well,
can we just say that the favorites of this week for me? I think number one is still Mannequin Pussy, but Ephemera, whatever it is fine if we want to just call it a universal number one for the sake of it.
Mannequin Pussy is up there. Postcard Nowhere is up there.
All right, Trix, which one do you prefer, Mannequin Pussy or Postcard Nowhere?
Mannequin Pussy.
Okay, sorry, Dominic, you're not getting a universal number one. 2 against 1.
I mean, Mannequin Pussy would probably be like a number 3 for me, so that's fine.
There's a lot this week. Sorry for everybody who wanted the rankings, but I don't think it's happening. We've been recording for 2 hours. it's late and we're burnt out this year because we've done a lot.
We keep doing this to ourselves. We don't have to keep doing this, but we do.
We don't.
We do it for science.
I think we're a bit masochistic, guys.
Yeah. So,
Shocker.
So we're adding on that EP for next week.
Hey, what's
Direct
one
above.
EP?
It's
I
only
think-
one EP.
I think it's like we talk about it for 5 minutes just to see if it affects our rankings. Because next week, everyone, is the rankings episode. It's the wrap up.
Yes.
We talk about our favorite shit of the year. We talk about our favorite stuff that we covered, if it was from this year or not. We talk about what albums could possibly be worse than fucking DD King.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's been a while, and I'm still pissed off at that Motionless in White album we did.
Yeah.
Can I just make that the worst album that we heard this year? Because I heard it in my head for 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, that's the
I
worst thing
can't-
I've thought of.
I cannot let that go. No way. You cannot say that.
And why'd you pick...
You cannot say Motionless in White is worse than LMFAO.
Honestly, I'd rather listen to some LMFAO than Motionless in White.
Okay, would you rather
Honestly,
listen to a full
I-
album of LMFAO?
Okay. Dominic?
It depends.
If I
on-
was given the choice of having to either listen to LMFAO or Motionless in White, I'm choosing going deaf.
Anyway, I've been tricked so you can catch me in bed. Also, next week, I will finish up my gig wrap-up. Because by the time that we record, I would have seen 150 gigs this year.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Which I thought I was going to struggle to get to 100. I thought I was cheating by adding those acoustic little in-store performance. No, we got there easily. I'm a fucking god. But we got Malsaturi happening. That will be gig 149 if I don't see something before it. I might even see 2 things before it. Or to make it 151, I'd see more gigs than Pokemon in the first generation.
Hell yeah.
And then I've still got shit after that. I've basically said, so my cutoff, everything is the 15th. So the actual cycle is still the 1st of December last year to the 30th of November this year. That doesn't change. But if I haven't heard something by the 15th, then it's done. Then it's not going to be in it because albums list is going to be on the 16th. EP list for me is going to be on the 17th. So we'll be recording potentially on the day that I do my albums.
Hey, we got one last EP to throw in the bunch then.
Yep, the EP will get its chance to be in that list. Then the next 3 days after that is going to be 3 different gig roundup roasts. There'll be no worst of this year. It's just I just don't want to think of bad shit anymore. I know I'm talking about it. And by the way, for everyone listening, this will already be released by the time that this is out. But then the Monday after that, we'll be doing my top 100 stream again. That's going to be just before Christmas. I'm hoping, and Trix can listen to that in the kitchen.
Filthy.
Another
So-
appearance of this warm evening salad or whatever.
Now that was the amount of joy that I got playing Lobster Fight at number 3 when everyone was listening. Just everyone's just like, what the fuck is this?
Just leave room for it again this year. Why not?
I've got some I've got some takes for my favorite stuff in here, and I think my top 25 is going to be my longest top 25 ever.
All right.
There is a certain song which I don't think will make the top 10, but will be in the top 20. And if we think about all the stuff that's been done this year, and what certainly has to be up there, I think Dominic will be able to eventually guess it. But I will not tell until it plays. But I guarantee halfway through that song, people are going to shut off the stream.
I can tell you right now, I cannot guess it right now because there's so much shit we listen to.
But there's one specific song that falls under that vibe that I love.
It's probably a solid book track.
Could be. You have to wait until the 23rd to find out.
Until then, remember everyone, listen to Raccoon Love's Getting Lost is Cool EP. Listen
Please
to
drop it in the chat.
Yes, listen to it and have fun with us as we wrap up next week. Other than that, I've been Dominic. This has been Trix. This has been Retz. You can find all of our
yeah.
information in the description below.
We've been recording for too long. This it's been a long one. It's not even been our longest recording ever. But
No,
it's been a long one.
we've gone double this.
I came back from the gong yesterday, man. I don't think I got enough sleep for this.
But, yes. Mannequin Pussy wins. Postcard Nowhere is second. Good night, everybody. Goodbye.
Good night, everyone.